The regular meeting of, is everybody on? Katie?
I think we are transferring some people from attendees to panelists. Just 1 minute.
Okay. What's that? What's that, Katie? I'm sorry.
Mayor, I think we have all council members.
Allison Hiltz cannot connect to the audio, so she's logging out and back in.
Okay. And I still got the same problem with the individual that was working on my computer with having his name up on there. Okay, I'm just waiting for Katie to tell me that she's in position. Okay. Announcement for the public call-in line.
Okay, very good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. The City Council welcomes feedback from residents at council meetings on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475, and when connected, press *3 to get in the queue to speak. And don't forget the star. You will hear a prompt confirming you are in line to speak to an operator, and then be able to continue listening to the meeting until the operator comes on to take down your name and the agenda item you wish to speak on. Residents who would like to speak for public invited to be heard or on a specific agenda item and have not already been screened, please press *3 to sign up before the item is called by the clerk. If you've already spoken to the operator, you do not need to press *3 again. Callers who did not sign up for public invited to be heard prior to it being called by the clerk may still press *3 to sign up to speak on non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. As a reminder, we will not allow comments about any item on the agenda during public invited to be heard.
Do we have a Spanish language version?
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en asuntos comparecientes en la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia pública. Por favor, llame al número de teléfono 877-820-7831 y cuando esté conectado incluya el código 254610 y al término presione la tecla numeral. De esta manera se le confirmará su turno para compartir su comentario. La operadora tomará su nombre y el asunto a presentar ante el Consejo y le pondrá en espera. Las personas han de esperar al anuncio de la invitación a la audiencia pública o hasta que se les ceda tiempo para tratar un tema específicamente en la agenda de hoy y al ser llamado por el funcionario encargado. Va a depender del número de llamadas para que se conecte con la operadora. Así que, por favor, sea paciente y permanezca en la línea. Gracias.
Do we have council members Gruber and council member Berzins with us?
I'm on.
I'm on.
Okay, very well. The meeting for Monday, October 11th, 2021, the regular meeting of the Aurora City Council is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Here.
Councilmember Berzins,
Here.
Councilmember Coombs,
Present.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes, here.
Councilmember Gruber,
Here.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Here.
Councilmember Marcano,
Present.
Councilmember Lawson,
Here.
Councilmember Murillo. There's a quorum.
Please join me in an invocation. O Lord, our God and our Father, We come to you and we ask that you would look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in all our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industry, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
for which it stands,
one
under God,
nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for
for all. Executive session update. During executive session, we had legal advice and discussed a property transaction. Approval of the minutes for September 27, 2021. Motion.
Mayor, move to approve.
Moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Bergen.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve the minutes of September 27th, 2021. Discussion? Will the clerk please follow the roll on the approval of the minutes for September 27th, 2021?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Lashley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen, Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Sorry, yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve the September 27th meeting minutes.
So we have two proclamations tonight. The first is White Cane Awareness Day. Whereas the white cane, which every blind person has the right to carry, demonstrates and symbolizes the ability of blind people to achieve a full and independent life, their ability to travel independently, and their capacity to work productively in competitive employment. And whereas Colorado law calls upon employers, both public and private, to be aware of and utilize the employment skills of our blind citizens by recognizing their worth as individuals and their productive capacities. And whereas the state of Colorado and the city of Aurora, through their public agencies and with the cooperative assistance of the National Federation of the Blind of Colorado and its local chapters, can facilitate the expansion of employment opportunities for the greater acceptance of blind persons in the competitive labor market. And whereas this year, the National Federation of the Blind of Colorado and its local chapters work cooperatively and with the broader disability community and the Colorado General Assembly to improve voting opportunities and digital access for Colorado citizens with disabilities. Now, therefore, I, Mike Kaufman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do hereby proclaim October 15, 2021 as White Cane Awareness Day and encourage Aurora citizens to be aware of the White Cane Law, to recognize that persons who are blind or visually impaired travel independently on our public streets, roads, and at places of public accommodation using their white canes or dog guides, to be aware that persons with disabilities have much to offer and that their energy, creativity, and hard work can greatly strengthen our city and our economy, and to recognize that the white cane is a symbol of independence and an instrument of safety for persons who are blind or visually impaired. In witness thereof, whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Aurora, Colorado, to be affixed this first day of October 2021. Mike Kaufman, Mayor, Aurora, Colorado. Second proclamation is Handbok Day. Whereas the city of Aurora is an international community that measures our diverse population from all corners of the world, and whereas the city of Aurora recognizes the professional and cultural contributions made by Korean American business owners and residents in the city who have helped our community's diversity become much richer in pride and heritage, and whereas nearly 2 million Korean Americans call the United States their home, and in the city of Aurora, Colorado, our Korean American community is a large and vibrant one, and whereas in 1996, the Republic of Korea declared October 21 as Hanbok Day, and this year marks the 25th anniversary of Hanbok Day. And whereas the hanbok is the traditional attire of the Korean people, and its origin can be traced back to the Three Kingdoms period, 57 BC to 668 AD. And whereas the hanbok, consisting of three main components, Geogori, which is jacket, a baji, trousers, and chima, shirt, was designed to facilitate the ease of movement and represent beauty. And whereas the hanbok is representative of the important ancient Korean traditions that benefit all of society by demonstrating beauty, stability, and respect of our ancestors. Now, therefore, I, Mike Hoffman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do hereby proclaim October 21, 2021, as Hanbok Day, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Aurora, Colorado to be affixed this 11th day of October 2021. Mike Hoffman, Mayor of Aurora, Colorado. Public invited to be heard?
Mayor, we do have
Yes. We have one caller, Arnie Schultz. Arnie, your 3 minutes begins now.
Mayor Kaufman, members of City Council, and most importantly, the voters in Aurora. My name is Arnie Schultz, and I have lived in Aurora since 1975. I have been following city elections and also have been involved in most of them for about 40 years. I am sad to say that this is the ugliest election season I have ever seen in the city. I think it evolved to be what it is since the mayor raised over $500,000 for his election 2 years ago. Now we have the slate of candidates he is supporting collectively raising $450,000 from a group calling themselves Aurorans for a Safe and Prosperous Future, which is funded by the Koch brothers. Among other things, they're using that money to send out false mailers, fancy mailers, with false information about their opponents. They are also posting false information on their Facebook pages regarding their opponents, including one candidate who is not part of their slate, but who also happens to be a member of their same political party. Yard signs are not supposed to be touched by anyone other than those putting them up or the property owners. It is unlawful by ordinance. Somehow, the signs of the candidates I am supporting are being removed and replaced by their opponent's signs. There have always been games played with yard signs, but not to the extent that it is happening this year. They are literally being stolen, which is a crime. I am supporting Crystal Murillo for re-election to Ward 1, Brian Lindstrom for Ward 2, Ruben Medina for Ward 3, and John Ronquillo for at-large. They're playing by the rules. They also care more about ordinary people and people over profit than they do about themselves, corporations, and developers, which was what their opponents apparently stand for. This is the most important election in the city's history and will determine whether or not Aurora City Council represents everyone in the city, including its marginalized communities or just the wealthy. So please vote for Crystal Murillo for re-election to Ward 1, Brian Lindstrom for Ward 2, Ruben Medina for Ward 3, and John Ronquillo for at-large. If you believe
question
in
of the city
honesty and
attorney.
transparency.
Question of the city attorney. Yeah, is that, I mean, can people in the caller line essentially during prior to an election give basically a campaign message? for or against a candidate or issue?
And we do not have prohibitions currently on
Okay.
public invited to be heard.
Okay, thank you.
There you go, Mayor, trying to ruin things.
Very good. Consent calendar, adoption of the, is there any, are there any more individuals on public invited to be heard?
Mayor.
Are there any more individuals on public invited to be heard?
There are not.
Katie? Adoption of the consent calendar.
Mayor,
I
I have a point of
will
order.
recognize, Councilmember Mario.
You interrupted that individual, so I don't know if we have any rules against interrupting public invited to be heard. So I just wanted to address that point of order. Thanks.
Adoption of the consent calendar, item number 10A through 10D. Motion?
Mayor Bursons.
Councilmember Bursons.
Thank you. Move to approve 10A through 10D.
Mayor, I'm sorry. We did not do the adoption of the agenda, I don't believe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Need a motion on the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor.
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. So moved, and I also wanted to pull 10C.
Okay. On the consent calendar?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't, okay.
10C.
Okay, well, wait for that. Let's do the adoption of the agenda first. A motion for Councilmember McConnell, you want to move the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Mayor.
Councilmember Combs?
Second.
So moved by Councilmember McConnell, second by Councilmember Combs. Discussion on the adoption of the agenda? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Bursons,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve the agenda.
Need a motion on adoption of the consent calendar, item 10A through 10D.
Mayor, I'll revise my original consent. Move to approve 10A, B, and D.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bursons to approve item number 10A, 10B, and 10D. Is there a second?
Second, Gruber.
And seconded by Councilmember Gruber. Discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar, item 10A, 10B, and 10D. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bursons,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve items 10A, 10B, and 10D.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 10C.
Item 10C is consideration to award a competitively bid contract to Rapid Restoration and Construction in the not to exceed amount of $110,734 for the 1400 Dallas Art Facility renovation project number 5846AB.
Brief presentation by staff.
Hello, Mayor. This is Phil Nockbar with Development Services. I prepared the item C, which has been pulled for discussion. Let's see, well, to provide a quick overview, this is a renovation project for the 1400 Dallas Arts Facility in the Arts District. And we went through a process where we did the project. Initially, it was over budget, and then we revised the scope of work. and rebid it. And the bids came in at September 13th, and they one bid was under the budget, so we're proposing to award it. But as background, this project was put together as a way to improve the facility to support local artists, emerging artists, and the building was in disrepair and needed renovation. The items that are being addressed in the building are in line with, I guess you'd say, the recommendations of an art space survey that was done in 2019. And that survey called for specific types of arts uses in order to support local artists. So our work on the building is designed around that to create larger communal spaces, improved lighting, improved access and separation of spaces, basically to make the building more functional as an arts facility. So the proposal in front of you is for $110,000, and that includes roughly what I just described. I'd be glad to answer any questions council may have.
Motion?
Mayor?
Councilmember McConnell.
Move to approve 10C.
It's been moved by Councilmember McConnell, seconded by
Murillo.
Councilmember Murillo to approve item number 10C. Discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Philip, for that background. The reason I pulled this is because I had a couple of more questions. I was actually contacted by some of the, I guess, current tenants who wanted to know what the timeline for completion looks like, and if the folks who were utilizing the space prior will be able to return, or if there's going to be a new selection process.
Yes, Councilman Mercado. So we have been in touch with the current tenants and tried to update them as to the timeline. And the answer to your question is yes. All of the previous tenants that are now no longer in the building are invited to return to the building. Unfortunately, our time frame is extended now because we had to rebid the project. So we anticipate the project being completed and ready for occupancy. We think about the first week in January, maybe earlier, but I have let all the existing tenants know what's going on with the project.
All right, thank you so much for that update.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Murillo.
Thank you. Yeah, when I was first made aware of the changes, I remember one of the first questions I asked was kind of the concept of the right of first return, and having that been the case even before we got to this point where we're bidding out contracts. And I'm glad to hear that that still remains the case. The other part was a conversation we had in trying to help the current tenants find alternative locations. There was a radio station, Ethiopian radio station that was operating out of there. Given the turmoil that's happening in Ethiopia and needing to and wanting to support media in different languages that you would find in Ethiopia was a particular concern of mine. Do you have a status of where that particular business was able to relocate? And if we were, you know, a radio station seems less mobile than maybe some of the other tenants that were there.
Yeah, Councilperson Maria, yes, I have had conversations with, his name is Indali Gedahun, about his business. And I talked to him about if there was a way we could assist him. And it turned out that basically he decided to move his operation to his house temporarily, or his apartment temporarily. And what we did do is we kind of facilitated his access to a grant fund or a grant award that he got through the Northwest Arts Grant Program. And basically his response was that that would help him set up his, radio station at home in the interim until they could move back in the facility. So we did what we could, and I think he was satisfied with that way of dealing with it.
Okay, and do we know if those dollars were actually expended? Because I think it was like a 6-month lag time between when he was notified of that award and the last time I had a chance to connect with him. But
yeah, it's been a little frustrating to track this. While our division actually provides the funds, we don't administer it. Cultural Services did. So I did contact Cultural Services and I asked them to make sure that they followed through with the response. Now, I don't know where it ended up, but I have been in touch with Indali, and he's aware of the time frame, and we've exchanged some communication since then. So
let's follow up after this. Thank you.
okay.
Question?
Thank you.
Further discussion on item number 10C?
Yes, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So on the grant for Mr. Ondali, is this a different grant than the grant he was given a few years back for the radio station?
Yes, he's applied for several grants that I'm aware through the Northwest Aurora Grant Program administered by Cultural Services, and he received a grant, I guess, in 2020 for the 2021 year. So he did receive a grant. I don't recall the amount of it, but he was awarded.
He also received one. He also received one, I think, in 17 or 18.
Yes, I believe he did.
So this is for a different purpose?
Well, a lot of our arts groups apply, every year for a grant for various purposes, and many of them get awarded more than 1 year, for more than one time. And he's an example of that. So he, the way I see it, he has the resources now to set up his operation, and move back into the facility. And he's aware of our time frame. So I believe that he's in good shape now to move back into the building and operate until he's able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Further discussion on item number 10C? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 10C. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve item 10C.
The time is now 7:08. We will take a 5-minute break to 7:13 to give staff the time to do an announcement for the public call line. The council stands in recess.
Residents who would like to speak on a resolution or ordinance and have not already been screened, please press *3 before the item is called by the clerk. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475 to be connected and then press *3. The council is taking a short break to allow for any additional speakers to sign up. Again, please be patient and stay on the line until the operator can take down your information. As long as you've heard the prompt after pressing *3 and can still hear either music hold or the meeting in progress, you are in line to speak to an operator.
regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, October 11, 2021 is now back in session. Will the clerk please read the title to item number 11A?
Item 11A is Resolution 2021-102, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving the district sale of a parcel of land containing approximately 1.1202 acres to the South Metro Wise Authority, and there is nobody in the line for public comment.
Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 11A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Bergen?
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 11A. Discussion? I'm sorry, brief presentation by staff.
Sure. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and esteemed members of the council. My name is Hector Reynoso, and I am the manager of the Rural Property Services Division of the Public Works Department for the City of Aurora. The city entered into a water delivery agreement for the Water Infrastructure and Supply Efficiency, or WISE partnership. As part of that partnership, or I guess the partnership is between South Metro Water Supply Authority, or SMSWA, Denver Water, and Aurora Water. It includes installation of infrastructure located on the Binney Water Purification Facility site. The structures are currently under construction and will meet the objectives of the water delivery agreement. In October of 2020, SMSWA contacted Xcel Energy for design of a meter and electrical supply to SMSWA's infrastructure. Due to the fact that the entire property is owned by the city, Xcel Energy indicated that they were unable to provide primary service to SMSWA and that Aurora Water would have to provide the sub-meter power supply. Well, the issue with that is that operating under this scenario would mean the demand side cost escalations would be out of Aurora Water's control and dependent upon the use of SMSWA's pump station. The operation of SMSWA's pump station could create a long-term negative cost impact for Aurora Water due to rate structuring for electrical demand. In addition, Aurora Water would be responsible for tracking and invoicing the power supply to SMSWA. So the proposed action, representatives from SMSWA, Xcel Energy, and the city met several times to develop a solution for SMSWA to have their own primary service. The solution is to convey fee simple title to a parcel containing approximately 1.12 acres of land identified in Exhibit A. We would convey the property via bargain and sale deed as identified on Exhibit B of your council packet. The conveyance will be subject to a use and transfer restriction and a reversionary interest. The use restriction will limit the use to a water filtration plant. The transfer restriction will require prior written approval of the city in order for SMSWA to transfer title to the land. And the reversionary interest would ensure that if the property ever ceased to be used for a water filtration plant or was transferred without city approval, then the property would revert back to the city. So the question for council is, does city council approve the conveyance of a parcel of land containing approximately 1.1202 acres by the city of Aurora to the South Metro Wise Authority by bargain and sale deed?
Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 11A?
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen? Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Barriel? Yes. Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-102.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 11B?
Item 11B is Resolution 2021-103, 103, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving the renaming of a portion of Harvest Road alignment and Powhatan Road alignment to Aerotropolis Parkway.
Brief presentation by staff with emphasis on brief.
Mayor, motion?
No, okay, motion.
Mayor, motion to approve 11B.
As been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Second, Gardner.
Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 11B. Brief presentation by staff.
Karen, I think you're muted.
Brief presentation by staff is Karen Hannock on. Is there staff that can comment on 11B?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. This was sponsored by Councilmember Gruber, and I would defer to him if you would like to describe this item.
Mayor, this road, this resolution will name the road that goes between I-70 at the Harvest Interchange up to 48th and hopefully eventually up to Jackson Gap, Aerotropolis Parkway. This initiative to name the road was voted by the Aerotropolis Regional Transportation Authority and it passed unanimously.
So further discussion. Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11B. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Burzens?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve resolution 2021-103.
Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 11C?
Item 11C is resolution 2021-104, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's support of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado, acting by and through its utility enterprise in the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, DBA Mile High Flood District, regarding design and construction of drainage and flood control improvements for Murphy Creek at Yale and Jewel Avenues.
Motion.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve 11C.
Moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Bergen.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 11C. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Council and Mr. Mayor. My name is Suvin Urenda, and I'm the Planning Services Manager in engineering, Aurora Water Engineering. This item that you have before you covers two projects. One is the design and construction of improvements to the mainstream of the Murphy Creek and the costs for this are borne by the district and the city on a 50% share basis. So total cost is $600,000 and the city will contribute $300 and the district $300. The second part of this item is the tributary. What's happening right now is that stormwater in the tributary to Murphy Creek overflows into the reuse pond at Murphy Creek. And that's a violation according to CDPHE. Stormwater and reused water, reclaimed water are not supposed to mix. So that part of the design and construction will be borne by the city. But in this case, the district is serving as a staff extension to the city. So that costs $2 million, and this IGA will transfer the monies to the district to conduct this work on our behalf. So the question is, does council support this resolution?
Discussion, further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11C. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Yes, and I just want to say we're having trouble with the e-scribe voting system.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I saw your error message. I appreciate that. The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-104.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 11D.
Item 11D is Resolution 2021-105, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's support of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado, acting by and through its utility enterprise in the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, DBA, Mile High Flood District regarding the City of Aurora Storm Drainage and Technical Criteria Manual.
Motion.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve 11D.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 11D. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. My name is Craig Pearl, and I'm a senior engineer in the Public Works Department. Aurora's storm drainage design and technical criteria set forth the minimum engineering and technical standards for the analysis and design of drainage systems for both city and developer-initiated projects. The criteria were last updated in October of 2010. Engineering practices and regulations have changed considerably in the past decade, so they are due for an update. The intergovernmental agreement before you proposes a cooperative effort to update the criteria with the Mile High Flood District, who offers technical and project management expertise and will pay for half of the estimated not to exceed cost of $160,000. Aurora will retain the ultimate authority in forming our criteria should any disagreements arise. The remaining $80,000 cost will be split evenly between Aurora Water and Public Works. So staff respectfully requests that the council approve the IGA with the Mile High Flood District and stand ready to answer any questions you may have.
Discussion? Seeing no discussion, the question is the adoption of item number 11D. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-105.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11E?
Item 11E is Resolution 2021-106, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving the intergovernmental agreement by and among Board of Water Works of Pueblo, Colorado, City of Aurora, Southeastern Colorado Water Activity Enterprise, City of Fountain, City of Colorado Springs, and Pueblo West Metropolitan District.
Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 11E.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Bergen.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Mayor Pro Tem Bergen. Excuse me. To approve item number 11E. Discussion. I'm sorry, brief presentation by staff.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Alexandra Davis. I'm the Deputy Director for Water Resources in the Aurora Water Department. This item is to pass a resolution to approve the acquisition of land on which to build a storage reservoir to recapture yields that was foregone by the City of Aurora and its other partners, Colorado Springs, Southeastern, City of Pueblo, City of Fountain, and Pueblo Board of Water Works, to accomplish the 6 parties agreement that was laid out in study session. So this land will allow us to recapture part of that foregone yield, but not all of it. So it is an important first step towards building a reservoir to recapture water rights that the city is entitled to and bring them back to the city. I'll leave it there and ask for any questions or more detail if you would like.
Discussion or questions of staff? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11E. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Marcano.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-106.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11F?
Item 11F is Resolution 2021-107, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's support of the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado, the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Arapahoe, and the Town of Parker, Colorado, for the operations and maintenance of the High Plains Trail.
Motion.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Hills.
Motion to approve 11F.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hills, seconded by
Bergen.
seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 11F. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I am Pat Schuler, Manager of the Open Space and Natural Resources Division. This IGA is between Aurora, Arapahoe County, and the Town of Parker. It sets out the responsibilities of each jurisdiction for the day-to-day and long-term maintenance of the planned next segment of the High Plains Trail to be built between E470 and Parker Road. Does City Council approve this resolution for this item, or could I answer any questions?
Motion. I'm sorry, we did the motion. Discussion or questions to staff? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11F. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-107.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11G?
Item 11G is Resolution 2021-108, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, affirming the designation of Wells Fargo Bank as the city's depository and authorizing the renewal of an agreement for various banking services therewith.
Motion.
Burzins.
Councilmember Burzins.
Thank you. Move to approve 11G.
It's been moved by Councilmember Burzins, seconded by
Gardner, second.
seconded by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 11G. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Teresa Sedmak, City Treasurer. With this resolution, we are requesting Council's approval of an extension to the city's contract with Wells Fargo for various banking services. This item was presented at M&F and study session in detail prior to tonight's meeting. In making the recommendation, staff considered cost of services, the earnings credit rate, and financial strength of the bank, all of which favored Wells Fargo versus its competitors. I am happy to address any questions or concerns council may have in this regard.
Questions of staff or any discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of 11G. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
and Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-108.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 11H.
Item 11H is Resolution 2021-109, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the counties of Arapahoe and Douglas, the City and County of Denver, the City and County of Denver acting by and through its Board of Water Commissioners, the Colorado cities of Aurora, Littleton, Cherry Hills Village, and Greenwood Village, the South Suburban Park and Recreation District, the Southeast Metro Stormwater Authority, the Highlands Ranch Metropolitan District, the Mile High Flood District, and the High Line Canal Conservancy.
Motion.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to approve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Marcano.
Dio.
Councilmember Gruber. Discussion. Seeing none, would clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 11H?
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bergen, Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-109.
Okay, with the clerk now, please read the title to item number 11I.
Item 11I is Resolution 2021-110, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving an agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado, and Majestic Commerce Center 2, LLC, a Delaware limited liability company regarding bridge construction, cost, and reimbursement.
Your motion.
Mayor Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 11I.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Marcano.
Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 11I. Brief presentation by staff.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of Council. Victor Rochelle, Deputy Director of Public Works. For your consideration this afternoon is the reimbursement agreement for construction of a bridge for Piccadilly Road over First Creek. This is in conjunction with Majestic Commerce Center, located in the northwest corner of 26th Avenue and 470. Parts of Majestic Commerce Center west of Piccadilly were annexed into the city in the 1970s, including some obligations for the city for this construction. In early 2019, property east of Piccadilly, Majestic Commerce Center, were annexed into the city. Following that, in December of 2019, City Council approved a vesting developer agreement, also known as a VDA. That agreement identified this obligation and the city's maximum contribution per the attached reimbursement agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Discussion, questions of staff? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 11I?
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
and Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-110.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11J?
Item 11J is Resolution 2021-111, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving an agreement between the City of Aurora, Colorado and Majestic Commerce Center 2 LLC, a Delaware Limited Liability Company regarding roadway construction and cost reimbursement.
Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 11J.
Been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 11J. Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you again, Mayor and members of council. So this item is for the construction of Piccadilly Road from 26th Avenue North to 38th Avenue. Again, this was identified in the annexations in the 1970s and then updated in the VDA approved by council in 2019, identifying the maximum contribution by the city for the improvement. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions of staff or discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 11J. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-111.
Time is now 7:40 p.m. Council will stand in recess until 7:45 to give staff adequate time to do an announcement for the call-in line. Council stands in recess.
Residents who would like to speak on an ordinance and have not already been screened, please press *3 before the item is called by the clerk. For those watching on Channel 8, please call 855-695-3475 to be connected and then press *3. Council is taking a short 5-minute break to allow for any speakers to sign up. Again, please be patient and stay on the line until the operator can take down your information. As long as you heard the prompt after pressing *3 and can still hear either music hold or the meeting in progress, you are in line to speak to an operator.
Time is now 7:46. The regular meeting for the Aurora City Council for Monday, October 11, 2021 is now back in session. I've been informed by by our clerk that we can combine items for purposes of public hearing.
Mayor, that's going to be for 17.
17.
Items.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Clerk, now please read the title to item number 12A.
Item 12A is ordinance 2021-40. Public hearing and consideration for an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending the 2019 comprehensive plan to change the place type map from emerging neighborhood to urban district for the area bounded by Lisbon Street to the west, 65th Avenue to the south, Piccadilly Road to the east, and E470 to the north. High Point at DIA comprehensive plan amendment.
Motion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Mercado.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve 12A.
Moved by Councilmember Mercado, seconded by
Gardner, second.
Seconded by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 12A. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, council members. My name is Sarah Weil. I'm a senior planner in the Planning and Development Services Department. I do have a PowerPoint presentation if you'd like me to share that, or I can just...
I think you just briefly go through it, please.
Okay. Before you tonight is a city-initiated comprehensive plan amendment to change an 85-acre parcel from the emerging neighborhood place type to the urban district place type within the High Point at DIA master plan. The site is bounded by Lisbon Street to the west, 65th Avenue to the north, Piccadilly Road to the east, and E470 to the north. It's located north of Painted Prairie and east of Gaylord Rockies for reference. The purpose of this amendment is to ensure that the Aurora Places place site map is consistent with the approved master plan for this area. The existing place type is the emerging neighborhood designation, and the proposed place type is the urban district place type designation, which it's currently surrounded by on all sides, and so it will bring consistency to the place type map within this area. This is the property owner supportive of the requested change, and the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the item at the public hearing on September 22nd, 2021.
Questions of staff or discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of 12A. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Mercado.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins.
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
Member Hiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner.
Yes.
And Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-40.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 14A.
Item 14A is ordinance 2021-41, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, amending sections 134, 38 of the City Code pertaining to impoundment of vehicles.
Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve.
Moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Bergen.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 14A. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Colleen Dialina. We are requesting the adoption of slight language change to Aurora Municipal Code 13438, the impoundment of vehicles. We would like to add information regarding which circumstances the Aurora Police Department will consider fee reimbursement, i.e. exceptional circumstances, illegal tows, or a favorable judgment by the Aurora Municipal Court impound hearing judge. We also request the requirement of written notice from within 24 hours from the time of impoundment be changed to close of business day the following day from date of impoundment. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions of staff or discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 14A. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Mercado,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-41.
Will the clerk now please read the title of item number 15A?
Item 15A is finalizing ordinance 2021-38, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, rezoning two separate parcels of land measuring 17.763 acres, more or less, at the northeast corner of South Airport Boulevard and East Alameda Parkway from Industrial District I-2 to mixed-use transit-oriented development district MUTOD, and amending the zoning map accordingly. Flats at Gateway Park.
Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 15A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Bergen.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 15A. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening. This is Debbie Bickmeyer, Senior Planner in the Planning and Development Services Department. The applicant, Pulse Corporation, is requesting to rezone two lots consisting of approximately 17.6 acres from Industrial District to Mixed-Use Transportation-Oriented Development Edge District. The proposed rezone is consistent with the Aurora Places Comprehensive Plan Commercial Hub Place Type. The request to rezone to TOD Edge is to support the vision of the Gateway Park East Station Area Plan and to promote TOD development around the light rail station. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously at a public hearing on August 11th to recommend approval of the proposed rezone to City Council. Staff finds the proposed rezone meets the approval criteria in UDO section 146-5.4.1C and is consistent with the Aurora Places Comprehensive Plan. That completes my presentation.
Questions of staff or discussion on item number 15A?
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Yes, question for our City Attorney, Dan Money. Is he available?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. So just as was just stated, the staff approved the criteria for the rezoning. Can a council member deny a rezoning if the applicant meets the criteria?
Council member can either approve or deny the rezone if it meets or does not meet the criteria in code on rezoning. So what we would suggest is if a rezone is approved, it is approved by the approving body, meaning the council. If it meets the criteria in code that's listed in your packet. And then if it's denied off the elements of code as it's listed in your packet. And if you go by the
I have a follow-up question to that. So if they have met the criteria and it's denied, can the applicant sue the city?
The applicant or any affected party can always sue the city. The most common type of lawsuit would be what's called a Rule 106 hearing. And that is stating that we did not follow procedure in either approving or denying. So that's the most common. There are other forms of lawsuits. Obviously, you've all heard of takings lawsuits, 1983 lawsuits, and so forth for any type of constitutional violation. But the most common in any of these is the 106, that the government acted arbitrary or capricious and then did not follow procedure. And that procedure is what is listed in code.
Okay. And then if someone is going to not vote for the rezoning, even though it meets the criteria, do they need to state publicly why they are against?
It always assists the city to have a record made. So the more of a record made of why something is either approved or why something is denied, assists the city if the city were to get in a lawsuit.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Further discussion or questions to staff?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Dan, if I could just go a little bit deeper on that. So we've been briefed, council has been briefed before that we have two roles, a political role and a judicial role. And under the judicial role, it's our job to identify and to demonstrate that the rules of the city have been followed in accordance to law and to make that determination. So first off, is that statement that I just made correct? And secondly, are we in the judicial role here?
And that is a fair statement. You are in what's called a quasi-judicial role. And quasi-judicial means that you act as fact finders, similar to what a judge in a court case, you hear what would be the testimony, which would be the presentation, and then you decide the fact. You decide off of what you're, what you hear, and that the first public hearing was obviously a few weeks back. This is the third vote on it. It did come back prior because of a absence on council, so this is a second final reading. But that is a fair assessment. You do act as judges. Quasi-judicial means that it's a public hearing. It affects land use, which means it affects somebody who owns the land or the adjacent properties of people who own the land and so forth. But you are the final determination of it.
Okay, and then just if I may, Mayor,
please
follow up. And what we've been told is that according to staff and according to our planning commission, the applicant has met all of the standards of the law, and now it's up for us to validate one way or another. Is that correct?
Staff and planning commission can make their recommendations. It's a recommendation from planning commission. It is a recommendation from staff. So what staff stated is both staff and planning commission feel like this met all the elements needed for a rezone. You are the final deciding body though. So it is up to the city council as a whole.
Thank you, Dan.
Further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Combs.
Yeah, so we actually are in violation of both the code and the charter by not having a council member in the Ward 2 seat, for one. And for two, this is actually located within Ward 2. So this would be something that typically the Ward 2 council member would have a say, would advocate, and would discuss with their colleagues. And we don't have someone in that role to do those things. And so on those grounds, I would move to continue this item until the second meeting in December, when we have a Ward 2 council member sworn in and able to get up to speed.
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
So the reason why we have a council of 10 plus the mayor, and right now 9 plus the mayor, is that we can, as a body, make decisions on behalf of the city and what is best for the city. The staff and the planning commission have already given their opinion that it meets the criteria for a rezone. And we do have 4 at-large council members that could represent basically any ward where there's someone missing. There are times when someone is on vacation. There are times when someone is out ill. So that's not really a good reason to delay a decision on something like a rezoning. And I have to say that this is just, you know, I know it's put the applicant in a really precarious situation to have to wait for a new body, elected body to vote on this when it's been, again, recommended by staff and the planning commission. And the fact that we are supposed to be voting on this as whether it meets the criteria for rezoning, not anything to do with what's going to be in there in terms of a site plan. So I don't think that holds water to delay it just because we're missing one council member.
That's for a second. Councilmember Combs, I need a second for your motion.
Second.
Well, it's been moved by Councilmember Combs, seconded by Councilmember McConnell. I'm going to take this as a substitute amendment. Further discussion on the Coombs substitute amendment.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
so can I ask either planning or the city attorney, is that correct that as zoning decision that it doesn't matter what's going to be there as to whether or not we decide on zoning? Because it seems like zoning is actually quite a bit about what's going to be there.
I think I'll answer that. This is Debbie Bickmeyer. The zoning becomes the framework of what will be permitted on a particular site. The subsequent site plan is what, excuse me, would determine the actual use.
And to clarify, the site plan in this case is not subsequent. It's already decided and will be approved if we approve the rezone.
It would be approved contingent upon council's decision. That is correct.
Further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Gardner.
So we heard the same, I guess, argument made during the vacancy process for the Ward 2 spot. But, you know, I just want to kind of reiterate what Councilmember Bergen said. We have 4 at-large council members and the mayor that represent the whole city. So it's frankly disingenuous to say they're without representation. In fact, over the last weeks and couple of months, I've helped dozens of Ward 2 council members with various issues. And, you know, specific to allowing a ward council member to weigh in on a project in their area, I think there's been several examples where that the ward council member in that area, their opinion hasn't necessarily been taken into account. So I guess this seems like a situation where maybe that's a convenient excuse, but we aren't being consistent when we're using that.
Further discussion. Let me just say I'm fine with continuing this. I don't subscribe to the argument that necessarily that it has to wait until the vacancy is filled, but I just think it's appropriate to wait. I think it's a good project. I don't think there's a support there to move it forward right now, and I believe that that having that council seat filled could very well break the deadline.
Mayor.
Further discussion. Mayor Pro Tem.
Can we hear from the members that are not going to support the ordinance, why they're not? Because why they're not supporting the rezoning that meets the criteria?
Well, it's certainly up to any member who wants to discuss his opinion, their view of this, but Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. I just want to state that I've made that ask several times of our colleagues in the past, and some have chosen to remain silent, but I will respect that request because I do believe people deserve to know why we make the decisions that we do. And frankly, for me, it's the developer actually reached out to us after our last vote on this and expressed interest in discussing the site plan more, as well as the future developments there. So I just want to state that what we said last time, it seems to be holding up, that council can influence these kinds of things in a way that actually benefits what we hear from our constituents. So I've heard a tremendous amount about how unaffordable our city is. Folks are asking for affordable housing. When we discussed this last time, we were told that affordable housing was never part of the discussion. So now it is. There's interest in it from the developer, from the applicant. So I'm excited to have that conversation and then move this forward with a full council, hopefully with an affordable component to it.
Mayor?
Further discussion on the motion to continue.
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
So on the request to continue it, is it because certain council members feel that they are going to be able to get the developer to do what they want, to have what they want in it? So it's a negotiation versus voting on something that right now is criteria on a rezoning. I mean, you can have those discussions as they move along, but it almost seems like it's a condition, like, oh, we want to vote on it tonight because we want leverage with the developer so that we can basically tell the developer what we want in, and that just doesn't seem ethical.
Mayor.
Councilmember O'Connor.
Thank you, sir. I just want to point out several years ago, there was a housing development out in East Aurora, and this came before council as a quasi-judicial issue. I was sitting in the audience at the time, but I do remember some of our former colleagues actually bringing up an ask of the developer there, the developer's representative, could we have affordable housing as part of this development? I believe the ask was 5%. The developer quickly agreed and said, yeah, absolutely, we can make that work. But council decided to override that ask and move forward without the affordable housing anyway. So there's plenty of precedent for what we're asking for here. I don't think it's anything new. At the time, the city attorneys, I don't remember if it was Mr. Brodsman or if it was our previous attorney, but he did not seem to raise a red flag about being able to do that since we are acting in a quasi-judicial role. I don't think any of us are taking issue with the qualifications for the rezone, but we're acting also as elected officials representing our constituents and the needs that they express to us. So it's not even, what we would personally like to see, it's what our constituents have asked for and what staff have already identified is absolutely necessary in our city.
Would Councilmember Combs consider it a friendly amendment to say that it be deferred? It really needs a date certain. Would that be, that could be December 6th? Would that be appropriate?
Mayor, my only concern about December 6th is I believe that's the day that the new council gets sworn in. I'm okay with saying December 6th, but that does mean that the new council has to get up to speed before their first meeting. And this is a pretty substantial.
I think they'll have plenty of time for that, and there will be a representative from Ward 2 where this is going to be.
Mayor?
Is that a friendly amendment? Considered a friendly amendment?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, very well. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay. Please proceed.
So Councilmember Marcano said that he had a discussion with the developer on affordable housing. I believe he and others are aware that there is affordable housing going into the development. There's the housing authority that actually has approval for affordable housing. So why can't we vote on this tonight for the rezoning?
Mayor Pro Tem or Mayor?
Councilmember Combs.
So to clarify, my understanding is that this project itself will not include any affordable, but that there's a nearby affordable rental project, and that there's a potential nearby affordable for sale project. And I think that those are things we absolutely should discuss, and that we should discuss in more detail about where those are, what is their proximity, how much time does it actually take people to get to the light rail from there, from wherever those sites are located. I think those are all worthwhile questions that if the applicant is interested in answering them now, I'd be happy to hear from the applicant as well. But I do still think that we should defer to when we have that council filled.
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
So again, can I ask the attorney, Dan Money, a question?
Please proceed.
Do we require affordable housing when we make zoning decisions? Is that part of the criteria?
We cannot at this point require it. So it's called the Telluride decision of 2000 that the Supreme Court said that you can't force inclusionary housing into, well, affordable housing or low income, however, whatever the terminology is at the time to a developer, but a developer can agree to it. So if a developer wants to agree to it, the developer can agree to it. The city can't force it. However, the current legislature did pass current legislation that kind of opened the door to inclusionary housing, but I believe it would be for cities to put that in their code so that developers know what's expected or what's required. And right now we do not have an inclusionary housing ordinance that we have passed that would allow that by law. So.
Right. So I guess my point is, again, it's not part of the criteria. So what I see happening is certain council members are basically, I don't want to say blackmailing the applicant, but they're pressuring the applicant to do something when it's delayed down the road, rather than vote on the criteria that stands before us today that meets all the criteria. And affordable housing isn't part of the criteria. I don't understand why we can't vote on this tonight. And you can have those discussions with the developer after you approve the rezoning, and that is quite acceptable. And if they're willing to do it, that's great too. I don't understand delaying this.
Mayor?
Please proceed. Councilmember Cruz.
Yeah, so staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted saying they believe this or have made the recommendation. However, we as a council do get to interpret the code as it's laid out. And in 2A, under the rezoning criteria that's in our backup, it says the applicant has demonstrated that the proposed initial zoning or rezoning is consistent with the spirit and intent of the comprehensive plan with other policies and plans adopted by the city council and with the purpose statement of the proposed new zone districts. And so if we look at the city's housing plan, we could say that this isn't consistent with the housing plan, because one of the things that we specifically talked about was affordability and TODs in that plan. And that's a plan that we adopted. So we can say, you know what, that's not consistent. Now we can talk about the other plans for the area that the developer has that may be consistent, but I still think we should wait on this until we have a full council, which is the motion that's currently on the floor. So the motion that's currently on the floor is the motion to defer this until December 6th.
To the Coombs motion, further discussion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
So I won't be here in December. As you know, I'm retiring from council. But I do believe this is extortion. I mean, the point is that as we discussed, we're in a judicial role now, and that role requires us to look at the law, determine whether or not the law was applied, and approve or disapprove based on the tenets of the law. The fact that there's a housing plan that has no reference to this TOD site, has no bearing on this TOD site. It's a general statement. Furthermore, there's other properties that this developer is bringing forward, as was mentioned. But in this case, I think that it's important for the people to see, and for any developers or anyone hoping to do business with Aurora, that we become business unfriendly. We become a city that cannot be trusted, and a city that will extort requirements that aren't written anywhere onto new developments coming to the city. I think we're doing great damage to our city. I'm very sad to see this happen. And I do hope that the new council can work through these. But again, it's very, very important that people vote based on the actions of this council.
Further discussion?
There's a chat message saying that the applicant would like to speak.
Thank you.
Question for city attorney. Just want to make sure that's appropriate.
So if it's me, and sorry if I don't want to jump into Dan Brodsman's role, but this is an agenda item and anybody can speak on agenda items. So this is not a public hearing. This is a final reading. But because anybody can speak on an agenda item for 30 minutes, I believe that, and it's usually done prior to the item being called or being discussed, but I would believe that somebody has 3 minutes to speak on this.
Very well. The applicant has 3 minutes. Please identify yourself.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is Mike Serra. I'm the Senior Managing Director for the Pulse Corporation. I reside at 5241 South Cafe Court in Centennial, and I appreciate the opportunity to make a few comments and answer a couple of questions. I've been working on this project for 25 years in conjunction with the city, and that has ranged from establishing the park and ride to anchor the location for the A line. That includes lowering East 40th Avenue in joint agreement and cost shares with Denver Aviation, City of Aurora, City and County of Denver, and RTD. All of this has been done to get the TOD site in a position where it can be developed. This particular project is very similar to the Fitz 21 project that we did at Fitzsimmons, and it will act as a catalyst for further development in the TOD. We believe we've complied with all the regulations required of us. The affordable housing component was never really a part of the discussion, but I can tell you that in June of 2019, we sold a parcel to Aurora Housing. That parcel is less than a half a mile from the TOD site. Aurora Housing was very delighted to get that site because they've been scouring the countryside for one like it. It has great connectivity to the RTD site. They have now gotten all of their financing in place. It took a couple of years for that to occur, and they'd like to put 100 affordable for-rent homes on that site. We also have had discussions with the city relative to building for sale affordable homes with deed restrictions on it on 2 adjacent sites very close to the Aurora housing site. We'd like to continue those discussions. So we have a 3-pronged approach. We have a market rate project next to the TOD. We have an affordable housing project by Aurora Housing that is going to start very soon. They've now got all their financing in place. They're working with us. In fact, I have a conference call with them tomorrow at 3:30 to talk about site plan and how we can maximize the density on the site so that we create the most affordable homes that we can. This is what we believe to be a very good project, an asset for the city. It will, in conjunction, all combined, those 3 projects will bring quite a lot of affordable housing to Gateway Park and to the city. There is no affordable housing component in the market rate next to the TOD, but we believe that we've done quite a lot to create affordable housing at Gateway. And the other thing that's important to know is that the affordable housing that will be built by Aurora Housing pays no property tax. So our district, Sand Creek Metropolitan District, has forfeited all the tax income from that parcel by selling it to Aurora Housing. We did that with full knowledge that would be a contribution year after year after year to the affordable housing needs of the city. And we think that a holistic view of Gateway relative to affordable housing might be important to look at. So I'm here to answer questions you might have. And, you know, we would love to get this project moving, but we would also agree and support a continuance till there's a full council. We do think that having our ward representative there, whether they vote for it or vote against it, is important. So we're in support of that if that's the council's wish. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you for the time.
Questions of the applicant or further discussion?
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
just a comment to the applicant. I want to just say thank you for, you know, working on this project for 25 years to attract business to the TOD site, and all the things that you have done to make this an attractive site and to bring housing. We have a housing supply shortage, and any type of housing that we can bring is going to just assist us. And I also think the fact that you did sell the parcel to the Aurora Housing Authority, I think that's wonderful as well. So I will support the continuance if that's what this council is really pushing for, and kind of, I think, pushing you as the applicant to do that. I personally, based on everything that you have just said, I don't understand why we cannot support this ordinance for rezoning tonight.
Further discussion to the Coombs
Mayor.
Coombs motion. Councilmember Mario.
Helps.
All right,
Can I
Councilmember
ask the
Hill.
applicant a question as well?
Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you for all of this context. I have a quick question. You sold the parcel to the housing authority, or you're planning to sell?
No, we sold the parcel to the housing authority in June of 2019.
19, that's right, you did say that. Okay.
And they came to us at that time because to get it in a position where they could develop. It takes several years to get their tax credits together, approved, and sold. At that time, they were delighted to get that parcel. It was the only one they could find, and it was really the only one we had available that was platted and immediately available. So they have they should be commended for their efforts. It's a lot of work to get that in place, and it just takes forever. So they bought it in 19, have been working hard since that time to get it in a position where they can develop. They have met with the city, not a pre-app, but they've met with the city to start talking about site plans, and they are anticipating fully going forward. And we, in fact, might build it for them. We'd offered to do that. We have reach into the market they don't have, and we believe that we can help them get it built for substantially less than they normally do. So all those discussions are ongoing.
Okay, thank you. You know, I voted this down the first round. I think I was the only one on the first round, and then it was voted down on the second round. But I didn't have much of this context, and I have a lot of heartburn, and we can talk about if it's qualifications or judicial or quasi-judicial, but the comp plan says that housing for all is one of our goals. And so building full market rate at TOD sites where people who rely on public transit can't afford to live gives me a lot of heartburn. But I didn't know about the parcel you said was less than half a mile, and all of the other things. So that certainly changes things. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to share all that information. And for the public, we did not speak ahead of time. I know there's been some comments from council members about that as well. So I will just say that we have not spoken, at least not to my knowledge.
And that's probably our mistake. We apologize for that. We typically have each project sound on its own, and we're delighted. We do take a holistic approach. And I want to add one thing. We also constructed in anticipation of this a trail connection from the affordable housing site directly to the to the park and ride and station. That is a 10-foot wide combination bicycle pedestrian path, fully lighted, so it's accessible day and night, and it's adjacent to about a 20-acre open space. So we're anticipating, and we're trying to make this as good a site as we possibly can.
Okay. Thank you very much. This discussion is to the Coombs motion right now. Further discussion to the Coombs motion.
Persons.
Councilmember Burgess.
Thank you. And I appreciate, Mr. Scherer, you telling us all that. I didn't know that either. But that, to me, that is a huge difference. Because like Councilmember Coombs said, we have had studies and we do show that we are short housing in every income level. So, you know, if you have market rate housing, people will move. They'll move out of the lower income into the market rate and give an opportunity for someone else to move into their property. You know, we've had council members that have moved during this 4 years, you know. So, you know, you go in steps. So I'm glad that you're building a market rate, but then there's also the low income piece there too. So people can move around and will help our shortage. I mean, if we just sit on these developments, you know, until we get everything we want, the shortages are just going to continue. Land properties are going up, construction costs are going up, labor's going up, and that just means our housing is going up. In my opinion, we have got to jump on this when they come available. So we can get those housing units. People can move around, get into what they want and can afford. And to me, I think this is a great opportunity for the city. And so thank you again, Mr. Scherer.
Okay, further discussion to the Coombs amendment.
Mayor,
I'm sorry, Councilmember Coombs. Not amendment, motion, I'm sorry.
I'm going to withdraw the motion to delay. And then certainly we can continue to discuss on the project itself.
Okay. Councilmember Coombs withdraws her amendment to continue. Further discussion, now we're back to the original motion to approve item number 15A. Councilmember McConnell.
Thank you, sir. So I also want to thank the applicant for speaking with us tonight. The context is extremely important. I want to be clear about one of the things that was just said, though, with our housing study and our comprehensive plan. We actually were found to have a glut in market rate or luxury housing, however you want to brand it, especially in the rental range. We actually have a severe deficit beneath market rate, all the way from basically all the way down actually to 30% AMI. So that's the state of our housing market, and not just in Aurora, that's metro-wide and probably countrywide at this point. But I do want to express appreciation for your work already with the Aurora Housing Authority. That was, something that was not apparent to, I think, several of us here. I still feel that we could work together to maximize the potential of this site and really address the housing crisis that we're in. But given that my colleagues seem ready to move forward with this, I will go ahead and support that move.
Further discussion to the motion to approve item number 15A.
Mayor?
I'm sorry, Councilmember Coombs and Councilmember Gruber.
Yeah, so I just did want to ask the applicant a little bit more about the for sale affordable. Like, is that going to be a tax credit project, or what kind of conversations have been had so far about the adjacent for sale?
That's a very good question. So what we proposed to the city was for us to build a condominium project on 2 sites immediately north of the affordable housing site. Those would be non-FHA, not financed in that fashion. We would offer them somewhere between, at that time, $140,000 and $200,000, depending on the size, and that we would deed restrict a certain percentage of those, but the rest would be market. So if, hypothetically, if we had built that project and someone bought a condo for $150,000, because of the increase in the housing market, they could potentially have done very well today. I think that's still the case, and we would still be very interested in doing that. We cannot, because of the way the code is currently written, do that and also put ground floor retail there. So those things need to be worked out with city staff and the city, but we are still very interested in doing that because we think that fills a niche that doesn't exist today out there. And the property is still available, and we're still very interested in doing that. So that would be the third component of our 3-legged stool on housing. And please understand, this is Gateway and the Falls Corporation first residential project in the city of Aurora. We've been developing Gateway Park since 1995. It's all commercial, and we have about over 20,000 jobs there. So it's taken this long to get in a position where we think housing will work on the east side, and we'd like to, again, use this market rate project and the affordable housing as a catalyst for further development there in the residential arena. So we're open to all that, but hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, can I just...
No, please proceed, yeah, please proceed.
Okay. And certainly I would be interested in having the conversation about what we need to do to make it possible for you to have that ground level retail and for sale product above. I think that's something that should be possible for you to do. It's something we've been asking for. And so if there's something we need to do to make that possible, I definitely look forward to that conversation. But I also thank you for, clarifying what the overall plan is for this area. I think it really does make a difference for understanding the impact of this site on our overall housing plans and housing stock in the city. So thank you.
You're most welcome.
Further discussion?
Mayor.
Seeing no other questions, Councilmember Mario.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to echo some of the comments that I heard tonight and thank the applicant. I almost wish the applicant would have spoken first because, I think there was some good context that I think many of us didn't have. I think you would have avoided some very long-winded political grandstanding, personal opinion there. But I think it does matter. I mean, I'll be honest, I wish I could ask for more affordable housing, but that's probably not a surprise to anyone here that I would still want more affordability. But just given the larger context that there was intentionality with affordable housing, strict affordable housing, right? The income qualified type units, and then the affordable housing for sale product, I think it definitely weighs on me. So I wish we would have had these applicant speak. If there's an opportunity for us to continue to work with the ARPA funds that are coming down the pike. We just did a public input process to help advance, some of these types of developments to help us meet some of these goals. I'm all for that as well. But I appreciate the additional context. So thank you.
The adoption of item number 15A. Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 15A. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins? Yes. Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
And Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-38.
We will now combine the public hearing for on items number 17A and 17B. Will the clerk please read the title to items number 17A and 17B?
Item 17A is Resolution 2021-112, public hearing and consideration to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, making certain findings of fact regarding the proposed annexation of a parcel of land located in the southeast quarter of Section 17, Township 3 South, Range 64 west of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Adams, State of Colorado, 157.841 acres. And ordinance 2021-42, public hearing and consideration of ordinance annexing a parcel of land located in the southeast quarter of Section 17, Township 3 South, Range 64 west of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Adams, State of Colorado.
The public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. This is Jacob Cox, Manager of Development Assistance. As you mentioned, we've got 9 separate items on the agenda that will follow the pertinent public hearings per state statute, and that consists of 6 public hearings in total for the combined hearings on the resolutions and ordinances for each annexation parcel, followed by the public hearings for the initial zoning. So to provide a brief synopsis of the general process for this annexation, Council approved the Transport Interim Facilities Agreement on January 25th, 2021, which was the initial document as part of this broader annexation package to establish the utility strategy for this large master development. A petition for annexation was then more recently filed with the City Clerk for annexation of 3 separate parcels within Transport Colorado. The vicinity map with the context for each parcel is in the packet. The annexation process follows state law, and this annexation will be considered over 3 council meetings. Tonight's agenda, the second in that process, in which City Council conducts a public hearing, considers approval of the resolution making a finding that the land is eligible for annexation, and considers the introduction of annexation ordinances. The initial zoning ordinance will also be presented by to City Council tonight, concurrently with the annexation. that will follow the city's comprehensive plan and be zoned I-2 industrial district. That will be detailed further by the planning department during the hearings for those agenda items. I'll note that we have outside representatives available to assist with any questions on these items. As for the public hearing at hand for transport number 1, a petition for annexation was filed with the clerk for annexation of 157.841 acre parcel, which is part of the Transport Colorado Master Plan. This parcel is located generally northeast of 48th Avenue and in Bowden Road, again in the attached vicinity map. City Council made a finding of substantial compliance regarding this annexation on August 23rd, 2021. This parcel falls within the city's annexation boundary and meets the requirements for annexation, including contiguity. This parcel will be integrated into the approved master plan. The item before you is a public hearing and consideration for approval of a resolution making a finding that land is eligible for annexation in consideration of the introduction of the ordinance. I'm happy to answer any further questions. Thank you.
We'll go to the applicant next, and then we'll come back later for questions from members of the council. Presentation by the applicant.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. If I can share my screen. Someone gonna share. Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, City of Aurora. My name is Ken Ponzarelli with LAI Design Group, and this evening I am representing Transport Colorado. Mr. Stephen Marshall, President and Chairman of the company. Mr. Nick Hernandez is the CEO. Will Metcalf is Executive Vice President. Kelsey Hall is Land Project Manager, and Theron Skidmore is the Senior Construction Manager. LAI Design Group and CVO Westwood have partnered together to provide all the necessary documents for the project. Just to kind of give council a little bit of context about transport, it's identified here in this green boxes, and we're effectively about 5 miles from DIA as the crow flies, and about 30 miles from downtown Denver via I-70. One of the many great things actually about transport is we have multi-modes of transportation. We have the UP rail line right at our front door along Colfax here. We have I-70 to our south. We have Colorado Air and Spaceport to our north. You can see Manila Road, one of our eastern boundaries, adjacent to the 3 parcels that are identified here in the yellow boxes that encompass that 1,429 acres that will kind of round out the entire 6,500 acre transport project as a whole. We've effectively, and I want to kind of give you a little context for transport. So it's not just the annexation of the 1,429 acres. It is really rounding out an entire master development for modern global companies seeking rapid expansion into the Rocky Mountain region. We're one of the only large-scale inland port developments, certainly in Colorado and the Rocky Mountain region. And we basically are able to deliver distribution, manufacturing, data, tech, solar, and aerospace, pre-zoned, fully entitled land. We're currently, we're currently working on sub-area ISP1 and ISP2, which is just under 500 acres in our initial phase in this rail-served industrial park portion of the development. So we're very excited about what's going on out there. From an economic development perspective, we basically have a very large mixed-use commercial retail office, hyperscale data center, and aerospace, as well as heavy, medium, and light industrial uses. And at the end of the day, this project will generate over $5 million in taxes, and then at build out, almost $300 million between the city and county. And then there'll be over $150 million in Metro District taxes. And then the entire development and build out will be just under $10 billion of land sales, vertical improvements, as well as infrastructure out there. One of the things that Transport has worked on very vigorously with the city of Aurora as a partner has been to solve the water supply challenges out in this area, as well as utilizing the rail-served industrial park to reduce truck traffic that would otherwise be on the network, the roadway network, absent the rail park. And the other thing is Transport is working with the city of Aurora to co-develop a renewable platform for solar on about 700 acres and deliver over 100 megawatts of development. So the whole goal here is not only to, improve the grid, but keep all of these wonderful jobs in the city of Aurora, because that build out, there'll be about 30,000 jobs created here. And I know the prior application with some of the affordable as well as market rate housing will be much needed to support the job growth in this area. So this graphic here really just kind of provides a summary of the 3 parcels that we're looking at annexing into Aurora, and they'll be zoned I2, and then therefore they will be compatible with all of the existing zoning around them. And then these are a couple of enlarged exhibits of those different parcels showing how the industrial development and open space will be maintained. And then this is the larger parcel with 642 acres. And then lastly, another parcel on our eastern side, which is 636 acres. So, with that, there'll be a change to the zoning map to correct an error based on the changing character here. This zoning map is required because of the change in circumstances. And then we've demonstrated that the proposed initial zoning is consistent with the spirit and intent of the city of Aurora's comprehensive plan. And then we've demonstrated also that the size, scale, density, multi-modes of transportation are also compliant. And then we've also demonstrated that the zoning will not create dislocations or adverse effects of any adjacent properties. So that's Transport in a global fashion. I know most everybody tends to look at the application that is before them, but I felt it was important to give a little bit of context on the order of magnitude on how this will help round out Transport and allow us to continue our work with the city of Aurora in solving some of the water problems and other infrastructure needs that are in this area. Thank you.
Other members of the public who wish to speak on this issue? Katie? Okay.
No, Mayor, there's nobody on the line.
Questions from members of council to staff or to the applicant?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Ken, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Steve Marshall and the senior staff of your company, as well as Wendy Mitchell and Yuri Gorloff and the Aurora Economic Development team for bringing us forward. I think it's also important to thank Adams County, the commission, and those folks that worked with you to put that rail spur in. That rail spur changes everything and actually will enable an inland port and a discussion between truck traffic, rail traffic, air traffic, and then, we smile when we say it, and space traffic. This property is going to be a very, very important part of the larger inland port that hadn't been defined yet, but we know that it's going to exist primarily in North Aurora, as well as Commerce City, and some circumference around the Denver airport. So this is a very, very important part of that larger inland port, and I'm proud to support this.
Further questions of the applicant or of staff? Seeing none, motion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 17A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by Councilmember Coombs. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
I do just have a question about the process of how we're doing this. So we're going to approve 17A, and then we're going to walk through everything else and vote on everything else. This was just the presentation covering all of those items.
Oh, that's a good point. Question to Katie. We vote separate. We just did one public hearing on both, and then we'll have to vote separately on each one item. Correct?
I'm going to refer to the city attorney's office. My interpretation with the annexation resolution ordinance being grouped into a single hearing, I believe that we can vote on it together, but I would refer to Dan.
Mr. Mayor, this is Brian Rula with the city attorney's office. We'll do a total of 6 different public hearings tonight. The first public hearing will be for the first 2 items regarding the annexation, the resolution, and the ordinance. We'll vote on those items separately.
Okay, that was the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me start over again on the motion. A motion to approve item number 17A.
Mayor,
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 17A.
Second. Second has been moved by Councilmember Gruber, second by Councilmember Coombs to approve item number 17A. Discussion. Seeing notice for further discussion, with the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17A.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz? Yes. Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-112.
Motion for the adoption of item number 17B.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 17B.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber to approve item number 17B. Seconded by
Berzins.
Second by Councilmember Berzins to approve item number 17B. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17B?
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz? Yes. Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2142.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 17C.
Item 17C is ordinance 2021-43, a public hearing consideration of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, zoning 157 acres of land, more or less, generally located east of Embaden Road between East 56th Avenue and East 48th Avenue within the City of Adams, State of Colorado to Industrial District and amending the zoning map accordingly. Transport initial zoning 1.
Presentation is now, the public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Mayor, City Council members, this is Stephen Rodriguez, Planning Supervisor, and this is the Transport 2020-1 initial zoning for the current annexation going through for this 157-acre parcel. It is currently zoned unincorporated Adams County A3, which is agricultural zoning. The proposed initial zoning is to I2, industrial zoning. Transport is a 5,500-acre, more or less, master planned industrial development, all zoned I2. As was,
please proceed. Sorry,
almost done. So it is between the 56th and 48th Avenue alignment. This proposed parcel regarding the comprehensive plan. The place type is industry hub, and their proposed initial zoning meets the goals of industry hub place type and complies with the intent and purpose of the place type in the comp plan. And lastly, for the initial zoning criteria, the proposal is consistent with the comprehensive plan place type. It's compatible with the surrounding zoning and will progress toward meeting general employment goals outlined in the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Presentation by applicant.
Mr. Mayor, so
please speak up.
I've given summation parcel, so
Sir, we can't hear you very well.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
A little better. A
Okay.
little better.
I have given the presentation of transport. Unless you would like me to discuss specific areas, I'm happy to do so, but I felt like I've covered everything that either Jacob or Mr. Rodriguez had.
Do any members of the public wish to be heard?
There's nobody in the line.
Are there members members of council who have questions of the applicant or the staff? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve 17C.
It's moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Marcano.
Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 17C. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call the title on the adoption? Would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17C?
Councilmember Hiltz? Yes. Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Yes. Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
And Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-43.
On the next public hearing, we will combine items number 17D and 17E into the same public hearing. Will the clerk please read the title to item number 17D and 17E?
Resolution 2021-113, public hearing and consideration to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, making certain findings of fact, and ordinance 2021-44, public hearing and consideration of an ordinance annexing a parcel of land located in the east half of Section 20 and the east half of Section 29, Township 3 South, Range 64 west of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Adams, State of Colorado, Transport Colorado 2, 642.914 acres.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Yeah, good evening. A petition for annexation was filed with the city clerk for annexation of a 642.914 acre parcel, which is part of Transport Colorado. This parcel is located generally southeast of 48th Avenue and in Bowden Road. Per the attached vicinity map, City Council made a finding of substantial compliance regarding this annexation on August 23rd, 2021. The parcel falls within the city's annexation boundary and meets requirements for annexation, including contiguity. The parcel will be integrated into the approved transport master plan. The item before you is a public hearing for consideration for approval of a resolution making a finding that the land is eligible for annexation and consideration of the introduction for the ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Presentation by the applicant.
Okay. Ken Ponzarelli again. I have further.
Please speak up.
I have no further presentation unless you have questions.
Questions by members of council to staff or to the applicant? Are there members of the public who wish to be heard?
There's nobody on the line.
Public hearing is now closed. Motion?
Mayor, motion to approve items 17D and E.
It's moved by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 17D and E, and seconded by
Burzins.
and seconded by Councilmember Burzins. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, the question before us is the adoption of item number 17. I'm sorry. Did it again. We have to do 17D first and then do 17E. Public hearing is closed. Motion to approve item number 17D, Councilmember Gardner.
I'll substitute motion.
Well, okay, it's a new motion, but that's fine. It's been moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by
Bergen.
Councilmember Burzins to approve item number 17D. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17D?
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
And Councilmember Burzins?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-113.
Motion to approve item number 17E.
Burzins.
Motion moved by Councilmember Burzins, seconded by
Gruber.
Seconded by Councilmember Gruber to approve item number 17E. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17E?
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
That motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-44.
The clerk now please read the title to item number 17F.
Item 17F is ordinance 2021-45, public hearing and consideration of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, zoning 642 acres of land, more or less, generally located east of the Emboden Road between the East 48th Avenue and the Union Pacific Railroad right-of-way within the County of Adams, State of Colorado, to Industrial District and amending the zoning map accordingly. Transport initial.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Transport 2020-2, the applicant is requesting approval of the initial zoning of the 642-acre parcel that's currently being annexed into the city. Is currently zoned Adams County, unincorporated Adams County A3 agricultural, proposed to be initially zoned to I2 industrial. Generally located east of Emboden Road, south of 48th Avenue. Regarding the comprehensive plan place type, the proposed initial zoning meets the goals of the industry hub place type and complies with the intent and purpose of the place type in the comprehensive plan. And lastly, the approval criteria for an initial zoning. The proposal is in compliance with the section of code for initial zonings in that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan, compatible with surrounding zoning, and will progress toward meeting general employment goals outlined in the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Presentation by the applicant.
Mayor, I have no further discussion unless council or mayor has questions.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
There's nobody in the line.
Questions from council members to staff or the applicant? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed on item number 17F. Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Mercado.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve 17F.
So moved by Councilmember Mercado, seconded by
Gruber.
seconded by Councilmember Gruber.
I'll give it to Gruber.
To approve item number 17F. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17F?
Councilmember Burzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo? Councilmember Murillo? I think you might be muted. I'm sorry.
I unmute myself and then someone mutes me, and then I unmute myself and then someone mutes me. So, but my answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-45.
The public hearing on item number 17G and 17H will be combined. The public hearing is now open. I'm sorry, would the clerk please read the title to item number 17G and 17H?
The resolution 2021-114, public hearing consideration to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, making certain findings of fact, in ordinance 2021-46, public hearing and consideration of an ordinance annexing a parcel of land located in the east half of section 21 and a part of the west half of section 22, township 3 south, range 64 west of the 6th principal meridian, county of Adams, state of Colorado, transport Colorado 3, 636.174 acres.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening. A petition for annexation was filed with the clerk for annexation of a 636.174 acre parcel, which is part of Transport Colorado. This parcel is located generally southeast of 48th Avenue and Quail Run Road, per the attached vicinity map. Again, City Council made a finding of substantial compliance regarding this annexation on August 23rd, 2021. The parcel falls within the city's annexation boundary and meets the requirements for annexation, including contiguity. This parcel will be integrated in the approved transport master plan. The item before you is a public hearing in consideration for approval of resolution, making a finding that the land is eligible for annexation and consideration of the ordinance. Thank you.
Thanks. Presentation by the applicant.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I have nothing further to add unless there's a question that you may have of me. Thank you.
Are there members of the public who wish to speak on these items?
There's nobody in the line.
Are there questions from members of council to staff or to the applicant?
Mayor.
Councilmember Hills.
Thank you. I know that this is in here just a concept. It's not a final site plan, but I just wanted to point out that I hope we don't put buildings over plugged wells and leave some space for there to be mitigation efforts if needed in the future. in kind of a buffer zone, maybe around those. And I know that this is not a final site plan, so it's not laid in stone, but just wanted to mention that because I do, from a safety standpoint, think that we should not plunk a building directly on top of a plugged well that we can no longer access to repair if needed in the future.
That is noted, Councilmember, and that is indeed I'll let Ken speak as well on this item, but that is indeed a conceptual diagram, and this does not constitute a site plan entitlement, for example.
Perfect. Just want that out there for future because I will not be here, but it will be in the backup somewhere that was a concern for someone, and maybe someone will remember that then.
Staff agrees. Thank you.
No further questions of staff for the applicant? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Motion?
Mayor, move to approve 17G.
It's moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Hiltz.
Councilmember Hiltz to approve item number 17G. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call roll on the adoption of item number 17G?
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes, and I can't get into eScribe still.
Okay, I let IT know, so I believe they're working on it right now. Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
And Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve Resolution 2021-114.
Clear now. I'm sorry. The question before us now is the adoption of item number 17H. Motion.
Mayor Berzins?
Councilmember Gruber.
Let Marcia do it.
Councilmember Berzins.
All right, doesn't matter. Move to approve 17H.
Been moved by Councilmember Berzins and seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 17H. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, would clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 17H.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano?
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz?
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber?
Yes.
The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-46.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 17I?
Item 17I is ordinance 2021-47, public hearing and consideration of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, zoning 636 acres of land, more or less, generally located between the Quail Run Road alignment and Manila Road, and between East 48th Avenue and the 38th Avenue alignment within the County of Adams, State of Colorado to Industrial District and amending the zoning map accordingly. Transport initial zoning 3.
Public hearing is now open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The applicant is requesting approval of initial zoning for a 636-acre parcel that would be annexed into the city. It's currently within Adams County, unincorporated Adams County Agricultural. They're proposing an I-2 industrial zoning for the site.
Presentation by the applicant.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Boy, you got to go louder.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have nothing further to.
Are there any members of the public who wish to be heard?
There's nobody in the line.
Questions from members of council to staff and the applicant? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Motion.
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Motion to approve 17I.
Councilmember, sorry, Councilmember Gruber. Motion by Councilmember Gruber to approve item number 17I. Second.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Gruber, second by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 17I. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, would the clerk please call the roll in the adoption of item number 17I?
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
Councilmember Berzins. Councilmember Berzins, I believe you're muted. Councilmember Berzins, I think you might be muted still. Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
And Councilmember Coombs.
Yes. Again.
Sorry. Councilmember Berzins, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you earlier. You were muted.
Katie, could she give a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Yeah, that's fine. She can put it in the chat or give a thumbs up. I'm not sure if she can hear me.
I'm not sure she can, yeah.
Okay, I'll email her and let her know that she can't hear us. The motion passes to approve ordinance 2021-47.
Will the clerk please read the top item number 19A?
Item 19A is the MOU to participate in Excel's Energy's Partners in Energy Implementation Phase.
Motion. I'm sorry, question for the city attorney. Does it require a formal vote on a memorandum of understanding?
Yes, it does. It's an IGA.
Okay. Motion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Marcano.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve 19A.
Moved by Councilmember Marcano, seconded by
Murillo.
Councilmember Murillo to approve item number 19A. Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening. I'm Karen Hancock, Principal Planner with the Planning and Development Services Department. Xcel Energy has mandates through the Public Utility Commission to reduce energy use. To help them meet those mandates, Xcel Energy developed the Partners in Energy program. In July 2020, City Council authorized the city manager to sign an MOU to participate in Partners in Energy, which entailed working with businesses, school districts, and nonprofits to develop an energy action plan. This second MOU, if approved, will authorize the city manager to sign an MOU with Xcel Energy so that the city and these important groups can implement the energy action plan.
Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 19A?
Mayor Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner.
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzins.
Yes.
That was, thank you. And Councilmember Burzins, how would you like to vote for ordinance 2021-47, item 17I? Yes? Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Mario,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
and Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
The motion passes to approve item 19A.
Will the clerk now please read the title of item number 19B?
Item 19B is consideration to appoint one citizen member to the Oil and Gas Advisory Committee.
Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to appoint Larry Quirk to the Oil and Gas Committee.
It's moved by Councilmember Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Gardner.
Councilmember Gardner, to approve item number 19B. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 19B?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz. Yes. Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Burzins.
Yes.
The motion passes to appoint Larry to the Oil and Gas Advisory Committee.
Will the clerk please read the title to item number 19C?
Item 19C is consideration to reappoint one member to the Career Service Commission.
Motion?
Mayor Dave Gruber.
Councilmember Gruber.
Move to approve Stephen Wormhoff to the Civil Service Committee.
It's been moved by Councilmember Gruber, seconded by
Coombs.
seconded by Councilmember Coombs. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Hills.
I don't know if Councilmember Gruber wanted to amend it to career service because I think he's appointing to the civil service.
Thank you for that. Yes, I'd like to amend my motion.
Very well. Further discussion? Seeing none, will you please call the roll on the adoption of item number 19C?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
and Councilmember Burzins.
Yes. I'm back.
The motion passes to approve Stephen Wormhouse to the Career Service Commission.
Please read the title to item number 19D.
Item 19D is consideration to appoint one member and reappoint 3 members to the Judicial Performance Commission.
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Yasmin Kennedy for the vacancy and Mr. John Hyan, Ms. Kelly Malcolm, and the last one, Wesley Nicholson for reappointment.
Sure. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Bergen, seconded by
Gruber.
Seconded by Councilmember Gruber to approve item number 19D. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember McConnell.
I think just a suggested correction to the motion. I think you said Yasmin Kennedy, and I have it in here as Yasmin Watson. So I just want to make sure we get that right for the record.
Actually, on the item summary, if they have it wrong, it says, yeah, I know she goes by both names, but I thought her professional name was under Kennedy, but maybe I'm wrong. It says Ms. Yasmin Kennedy submitted her application.
I see both depending on where I look too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Further discussion on the adoption of item number 19D. Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 19D?
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzens,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
and Councilmember Gruber.
Yes.
The motion passes to appoint Yasmin and reappoint John, Kelly, and Wesley to the Judicial Performance Commission.
Okay, now please read the title to item number 19E.
Item 19E is consideration to appoint one member and reappoint one member to the Library Board.
Mayor?
Sorry.
Hiltz.
Councilmember Hills.
It's libraries, so Hiltz.
Okay.
Motion to appoint Ms. Paula Vargas and reappoint Ms. Shannon Day to the Library Board of Trustees.
Further, I'm sorry, moved by Councilmember Hills, seconded by
Bergen.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen to approve item number 19E. Further discussion? Seeing another question before this is the adoption of item number 19E. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzens,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
and Councilmember Marcano.
Yes.
The motion passes to appoint Paula and reappoint Shannon to the Library Board.
Okay, now please read the title to item number 19F.
Item 19F is consideration to reappoint one member and appoint two members to the Arts and Public Places Commission.
Motion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
I move to reappoint Brittany Pirtle and appoint Dega Keller and Carmen Nume to the Art and Public Places Commission.
So moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Marcano.
Councilmember Marcano to approve item number 19F. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 19F?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Burzens,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcano,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Yes.
The motion passes for item 19F.
Okay, now please read the title to item number 19G.
Item 19G is consideration to appoint 4 members to the Aurora Youth Commission.
Motion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Coombs.
move to appoint Abby Deviak, Logan Gaudreau, Alexandra Crow, and Snigdha Kumar to the Aurora Youth Commission.
That's been moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Marcano.
Councilmember Marcano. Is Is there any discussion? The question before us is adoption of item number 19G. I'm sorry, 19F. Ouch.
19G.
19G. Is seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of item number 19G?
Mayor Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hiltz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson,
Yes.
Councilmember Murillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen, Councilmember Mercano,
Yes.
and Councilmember Burzins.
Yes.
The motion passes to appoint the 4 members to the Aurora Youth Commission.
Report by the mayor. I will be doing a Mayor Mike Live on Thursday at 4 o'clock, 4 to 4:30 on auroratv.org. Not sure what issues I'll be discussing or what guests I'll have, but any resident from Aurora can ask questions on the city's Facebook page as I'm doing it. I did have Lemos Oy, a Spanish language talk radio show this morning, and I will be doing the show next Monday morning at 8:20 a.m. Again, that's on Monday, 11:50 a.m. on your radio dial. Councilmember Hiltz.
Thank you. Over the weekend, I attended along with Councilmember Gardner and the mayor Fire Safety Week's demonstration. They partnered with the National Fire Sprinkler Association. Someone correct me if I got that wrong. And they did a live demo and had, you know, the trucks and the engines and some of the other vehicles out to talk about the importance of sprinklers in stopping the spread, or slowing the spread of fire rather. And then also the city has coming up this Thursday at 3 o'clock at Olympic Park, which is Yale and Chambers, a pop-up pumpkin patch. So that should be fun as well. And if you're interested, just hop on the city website and you can find more information, but it's going to be doing it for a couple Thursdays throughout the month. And they're doing a decorating kit. So for pumpkins. So obviously get there early because it's on a first come, first served basis and family friendly. Thanks.
Councilmember Lawson.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. On Friday with the CML in my capacity as a policy member, we had a meeting, our meeting to basically go over policy positions from different jurisdictions. I presented a policy position that for consideration with CML to support. This is something we talked about with Judge Day about a proposal for the build out of a state database to allow for information sharing between municipal and state courts. So this was just to kind of get CML to see if they would support this particular effort. It did get support. So we don't have anything finalized. It's just kind of giving an idea what CML would do on this particular type of initiated legislation. As far as Pfizer is concerned, there are a couple of updates. Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said that the House will convene on Tuesday to pass a stopgap measure, raising the debt limit, following the passage by the Senate on Thursday. Congressional leadership has called the action by October 31st on 2 major pieces of legislation: House consideration of the Senate-passed infrastructure bill, agreement from the House and Senate on the reconciliation bill, focus on social infrastructure spending, including measures to address climate change. At the state level, after meeting over the summer and fall, legislative interim committees are considering draft bills this month. These bills will be introduced in the 2022 session on a variety of topics like affordable housing, behavioral health care, water, and transportation. The Economic Recovery Committee will continue to meet to discuss how to spend the federal recovery dollars. City staff is working closely with state agencies, the governor's office, and the legislature on the city's priorities based on the mayor and council's feedback. I have RTD Reimagine on Thursday, so I'll provide an update for that. And CML Executive Board, I'll provide another update on that as we have our meeting next week.
I had the opportunity to attend Accelerate Colorado, which was a trip to Washington, D.C., where we had the opportunity to speak to senior staff in many of the federal departments, housing, small business, and others. We also had the opportunity to speak with Senators Bennett and Senator Hickenlooper. I wanted to mention that we had a discussion about an inland port with Senator Hickenlooper, talking about the importance of having an inland port within the metro area, as well as the jobs that it will bring, both in logistics itself, as well as manufacturing, which will follow logistics. All in all, I want to thank again Accelerate Colorado, as well as the Aurora Economic Development Council, for putting this trip together and giving us the opportunity to speak to these people.
Councilmember Gardner.
A couple of things. First, I want to mention thanks to Aurora Fire Rescue for hosting the event last Saturday. It's always nice to get out and see them, and it was a fun time to have the families out, and it was a beautiful day on Saturday at City Hall, so thank you for hosting that. Just demonstrated the importance of fire safety, sprinklers, fire smoke alarms, and all that kind of thing. So next, this Wednesday is the State of the City. For those who can't attend in person, I'm sure it's available online. I'm a member of the Aurora Rotary Club, and the Aurora Rotary is hosting that event. So thank you to that group for putting that on. And then lastly, we appointed quite a few members to boards and commissions tonight. So as of before that happened, we had about 41 openings. I don't know how this impacted that, but I'm sure we still have several dozen openings. So just encourage any residents that are watching that might be interested in getting involved in local government. The boards and commissions that we offer are a great way to do that. In one specific board I'd like to mention is the Civil Service Commission. We do currently have one opening on that, and it's very important that we maintain a full group there. So just encourage folks who might be interested in getting involved in local government to apply for boards and commissions, and you can find that at auroragov.org.
Councilmember Mario.
Welcome back to
okay. Proceed.
Yeah, so a couple of folks mentioned the Fire Prevention Week event. Wanted to give a shout out there. I wasn't able to attend, but I think it's always a good idea to talk about fire prevention in Aurora. So the other couple of events I wanted to shout out, Rise Colorado is a family and student-led community-based organization. They had a public school board candidate forum. So along with city council members, myself included, people will be able to vote for their school board members. And there are 4 seats available. There are 6 candidates. So they had a forum. I would encourage you to check it out. If you guys want the link, I'm happy to share that. There was also a Be Well forum. Be Well works with a lot of residents in the northwest part of Aurora on constituent engagement and understanding city processes and finding leadership roles. So perhaps folks will and have actually applied to prior positions and openings on our boards and commissions. And I also lastly attended the Colorado Black Women for Political Action Luncheon, which was really awesome. And then I have my October town hall, the 4th Thursday, which is the 28th at 6 p.m. And like we've had for the past 2 meetings, I'm hoping it'll be another hybrid meeting. So thank you.
Councilmember Versus.
Thank you, Mayor. And I guess going to something that Councilwoman Maria said about funding meetings online. Our candidate forum is still online. If you want to see it, if you didn't have a chance to see all the candidates of wards 1, 2, 3, and the at-large candidates, you can go to Aurora TV .org and find it there and watch it. But I also wanted to say more about the Accelerate Colorado trip. It was wonderful. And as Councilmember Gruber said, we did get a chance to meet with our two senators, Bennett and Hickenlooper, and speak with them. It was really packed 3 days. But a couple of other people, actually the House representatives were not in town, I don't believe, so they did send their staff. So we were able to speak with them. But we also spoke with experts and directors and deputy managers of a lot of departments. Data collection was one that was very interesting. Someone was there, foreign intelligence, and that really hit home. The director of the White House Intergovernmental Affairs, she was there, giving us some great tips. And the Employment and Training Administrator within the Department of Labor. And she was talking about jobs and unemployment, and you know what to do and how to do it in the city of Aurora and Metro Denver. So it was a very good conference, and I'm glad I went. And hopefully next year more of you will be able to go, because it is very eye-opening and to get to talk to these folks and see what they do and how it can help the city of Aurora. Thank you.
Councilmember Marcano.
Thank you, sir. So I want to start by acknowledging that Aurora sits on Arapaho, Cheyenne, Ute, and Sioux land, and that most, if not all of us, were taught a false accounting of the history of the Americas. And I believe it's important to acknowledge that this land was not settled, but it was stolen. My own family's lineage includes Spanish conquistadors and Taínos, which are one of the indigenous tribes that called Borican, which is what we call today Puerto Rico, home. And it's my sincere hope that we can continue to share knowledge about our true history so that we can better understand our present and use that to shape a more just and equitable future. So happy Indigenous Peoples Day, everybody. And our final ward meeting of 2021 will be this Thursday, October 14th at 6:30 at the Stampede. And we're going to be having an at-large candidate forum. All candidates have been invited. So far, I have gotten an RSVP from Candace Bailey, Becky Hogan, and John Ronquillo. So I hope to see you all there. Have a great night.
Councilmember Coombs.
Thank you, Mayor. And likewise, I would like to acknowledge and celebrate that we now have Indigenous Peoples Day as a holiday to celebrate in our country, in recognition of the centuries of misrepresentation through the focus on Columbus Day. Aside from that, we did have our ward town hall this last Wednesday. It was very exciting, interesting. Folks had a lively discussion with our traffic and roads staff. And I think it was really beneficial to the constituents to hear from them. With respect to boards, Mile High Behavioral Healthcare had our board meeting. They did note that they will be increasing wages for staff to ensure that they're able to attract a pool of qualified candidates to provide the various services they provide. And also reported on the great progress of the aftercare program that they have in place, which gives people ongoing support for recovery from both mental health and substance abuse issues. And it's been really successful in providing people an ongoing community to make sure that they are able to maintain the successes that they've had while in recovery. Dr. Cog had a special meeting to support a letter from the board regarding the CDOT greenhouse gas emissions regulations. And then I also had the opportunity to visit our safe outdoor space pilot at Salvation Army. All of the residents there are in process of getting the various documents that they need to be able to access services, housing, and jobs. And the folks that have been able to get that help with their documents, about 1/4 of people who came in without employment are now participating in employment programs because they have gotten through that document process. And a number of people are in progress for getting permanent housing. So that has been a really successful model for the city. We will have an upcoming meeting for Visit Aurora, as well as the Cherry Creek Basin Water Quality Authority. And then also this last weekend had the opportunity not only to attend the Colorado Black Women for Political Action Luncheon, but also the grand opening and ribbon cutting at Fieldhouse USA, which is a really exciting opportunity for the city. I definitely encourage folks to go out and check out not only the Fieldhouse, but their Air House amusement area that is included within the Fieldhouse space. People were there having a really wonderful time. So thank you all and have a good night.
Mayor Pro Tem Bergen.
Thank you, Mayor. And just want to give an update on E470 roadway committee. We approved a cable barrier contract, also went over the road widening CMGC contract, and then of interest to probably to Ward 6 constituents is that we move forward to IGAs regarding Gartrell Road. One of them is regarding temporary traffic signals, and E470 is a funding partner on that. And then the second IGA was design of the interchange at Gartrell, which will accommodate 4 lanes. So I know that that's been a long time coming. And then I just want to echo my colleagues that went on the Accelerate trip. It was a great conference, and appreciate being there. And that is my report for the evening.
Oh, thank you. I failed to mention, I mentioned my weekly segment on Spanish Language Talk Radio and my weekly program that I do on auroratv.org, but failed to mention the annual State of the City speech that I'll be giving this Wednesday that Councilmember Gardner was kind enough to bring up because his organization, Aurora Rotary Club, is going to be hosting that event. And so with that, public invited to be heard.
Mayor, we do have one individual on the line.
Barbara Lilly, your time is beginning right now. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening. I would like to hit rewind for just one moment and go back to a call that came in where candidates and their supporters were accused of stealing signs. It kind of reminded me of a kid when they go, "Mom, he looked at me funny." To assume something when you have no proof is just unprofessional. And as a matter of fact, I've seen signs for the 5 candidates I support in my neighborhood that have gone missing. So it's happening to everyone. With the crime rate in Aurora, with the high rate of homelessness, and with the vandalism that teenagers are doing these days, who knows who stole signs? I don't know if you're aware that the ladies' locker room at our beautiful new Central Rec Center was demolished by a batch of teenage girls. They have not been found to the best of my knowledge, and I think this is just pretty sad. The 5 candidates I support in Ward 1, Bill Gondras, Ward 2, Steve Sundberg, Ward 3, my ward, John O. Scott, and the 2 at-large candidates, Danielle Jurinsky and Dustin Zavanek, have put safety as a top priority. The crime rate in the city is beyond your imagination. I go on the site next door, and some of you might want to go on that because you just get candid feedback from all the citizens. And people have had things stolen. They've had their cars vandalized. They've been followed by people in cars. The crime rate has got to stop. And I'd like to note that Dustin and Danielle are the only candidates that have been endorsed by the Aurora Police Association. I think this is very critical to our city. You can have a lot of ideas about fixing this and fixing that, but if you have a high crime rate, nothing is going to get fixed. And again, I would hope everyone takes the high road, doesn't accuse people of things when they have no proof, and realizes that it does no one any good. Thank you for your time.
With that, there is no further business before the Aurora City Council. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, y'all.